Health authorities in Gaza say about 50 Palestinians have been killed and dozens more injured in Israeli strikes over the past day. The IDF says 5 of its soldiers were killed in the north of the enclave. The latest violence comes amid reports in Israeli media that the nation's defence minister has instructed the IDF to prepare plans to move hundreds of thousands of Gazans to a camp in the Strip's south. Middle East correspondent Matthew Doran is in Jerusalem.
While there appears to be growing momentum for a fresh truce in Gaza after more than 20 months of war and a death toll across the Strip now in excess of more than 57,000 Palestinians, there's little sign Israeli attacks across Gaza are easing, even as those negotiations begin. The daily ritual of funerals continue after Israeli strikes hit multiple sites across Gaza, killing and injuring dozens. Local authorities saying a baby girl was among those killed in Gaza City. Israel insists it's targeting Hamas fighters, but the civilian death toll shows many innocent Palestinians are suffering as a result. The toll for the Israel Defence Forces, while nowhere near the number of Palestinians who've been killed during the war, is also rising. 5 killed and 14 injured in a Hamas ambush in northern Gaza. Instances like that fueling anger and unrest within the Israeli community about the war dragging on. The deaths come amid speculation a fresh ceasefire could be reached in the next short while, potentially for a period of 60 days, during which time 10 living and 18 dead Israeli hostages would be released by Hamas. One former Israeli hostage, who was released back in February, says there's a narrow window of opportunity for those remaining hostages, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive.
I call upon you, Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump, to do what needs to be done, and you both can do it. Bring all of the 50 hostages back and end the war.
Qatar, one of the mediators in this conflict between Israel and Hamas, says those talks haven't even begun yet, that negotiations are currently underway to provide a framework for those discussions. As a result, Qatar is cautious about jumping to any conclusions.
First of all, it's too early to give any impressions over the talks and how they are going right now between both sides. The only thing that we can say is that there is engagement on both sides. We are talking to both sides as we are going along. Obviously, what we are trying to do is bridge the gap in the positions on both sides over the sensitive issues.
One of those sensitive issues is the displacement of the Palestinian population. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump have again referred to moving Gazans out of the Strip into neighbouring countries, labelling it as a way to give them a better future. Displacement is a red line for Palestinians, not only members of Hamas but the broader population. It's also a concern for countries such as Jordan and Egypt. And for all the talk from Israeli authorities that this would be a voluntary process, the plans that continue to be unveiled are fueling deep concerns and criticism that something far more extreme is afoot. The Israeli media is reporting the country's defence minister, Israel Katz, has ordered the IDF to develop plans to create a new camp in southern Gaza on the ruins of the city of Rafah, where hundreds of thousands and then millions of Palestinians could be sent. Once those Palestinians enter the camp, they would not be allowed to return to other parts of Gaza. Israel Katz insists it would be international organisations running that facility, but it would be secured by the IDF. However, it's very hard to see how any organisations would want to take part in that, given the repeated warnings from organisations such as the United Nations that mass displacement would be tantamount to a war crime.